it off. You don't have to worry about it.
There you go. There you go.
Right
That's
there?
good. Yeah.
Okay, good morning. This is Dr. Kevin Millet, and today's TBM topic is iodine. And this is being recorded. We're in downtown Dubai, and behind me is the world's tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. So iodine, let's talk about iodine for a second. Iodine was really the first antibiotic. It was originally discovered back in the early 19th century for its help with thyroid, and it was taken out of seaweed and found it was isolated. It was this beautiful purple vapor that would form, this beautiful violet vapor. Soon it was discovered that it had antimicrobial properties, and we could say it was really the first antibiotic. And one of the problems with early iodine use, when it was used topically, is it would burn skin. And so because of that burning and because of the discovery of penicillin, iodine, its topical and internal use basically disappeared. Well, not too many years back, in the I think like 1960s or so, povidone iodine was created, and that's a slow releasing, if you will, type of iodine that you can put on the skin and it doesn't burn the skin. So it came back for topical antimicrobial use, but it's never come back for internal antimicrobial use, and that's really what our topic is going to be focusing on, because iodine has never ever been shown, well, it's never been shown that any microorganism can develop a resistance to iodine. Iodine kills microorganisms across the full spectrum, from bacteria and fungus to viruses and parasites and so forth. And it's interesting that it seems to spare the beneficial flora of the gut. And so it has a gut biome modulation effect in the gut, even when it's taken internally, being a bactericide to the non-beneficial flora, but sparing the beneficial flora. Now let's talk about iodine and immunity here, just in general, first off. Most of the iodine in the human body is outside of the thyroid. We have a tendency to think that iodine is for thyroid hormones and that's about it. Well, the truth is that's not even the major reason we have iodine in the body. The major reason we have iodine in the body is to create a chemical immune barrier. We think of the skin as the principal physical immune barrier, keeping microorganisms out and preserving the sterility, if you will, of the inner cells and tissues of the body. So the body not only has this physical barrier, also has a chemical barrier. And that chemical barrier is iodine. Iodine gets concentrated in the CSF by the choroid plexus. So as CSF circulates, it actually sterilizes all of those tissues and helps to keep the CSF sterile. Every blood cell, passes through the thyroid approximately every 17 minutes. So these cells get folded and they squeeze through the thyroid. The only part of the body that's more richly vascularized than the thyroid are the kidneys. And I wondered, why is the thyroid so richly vascularized? Well, so every cell can go through the thyroid, and it gets squeegeed, if you will, by an iodine, in an iodine-rich solution that sterilizes the blood cells of the body. Furthermore, iodine gets concentrated in the ciliary bodies. In the eyes, so as the vitreous humor circulates, that's kept sterile. the kidneys concentrate iodine and release iodine into the renal pelvis and the ureters and the bladder and the urethra to help prevent urinary tract infections. This goes on and on. The salivary glands concentrate iodine and begin to sterilize our food as we chew it in our mouth. The stomach concentrates iodine, which further sterilizes the food in our stomach so it doesn't pass through non-beneficial microbes into our gut. So therefore, sparing the IgA from having to, which is the principal immunoglobulin in the gut, to having to attack everything that comes. And that's the next thing I want to turn to, is if we are deficient in iodine, if we don't have enough to meet the needs of the thyroid, which will come first before endocrine demands are ahead of immune demands. So if we don't have enough iodine to meet the demands of the thyroid, we're going to have hypothyroidism. And so too many people then just take enough thyroid to help mitigate that and to help normalize thyroid hormone production. But they don't go beyond that to then fill the body's needs, which is the greatest need as far as amount goes, allowing all of these exocrine glands, these sweat glands, and these salivary and so forth glands that are literally washing every surface of our body with iodine. We sweat iodine. And so the surface of our skin actually gets coated with iodine. And so if we don't have enough iodine to build all of the extra thyroidal reserves, then what happens is the immune cells, the B cell lymphocytes and the T cell lymphocytes, get bombarded with microorganisms constantly that they're not designed to deal with. The immune cells of the body are like a nation's military. We don't want the military writing tickets for running a traffic light, or the military resolving domestic disputes and things like that. That's what the local police are for. Well, think of this iodine washing over all of the surfaces inside and out of the body. Think of that as the local police. That's its job, to keep all these areas sterile, or to keep it just so the beneficial flora is there in the case of the vaginal vault and the skin and the intestinal tract. And as long as it's doing its job, the immune system then can maintain its reserves and focus on true acute threats, a wound, an exposure to a sick person, things like that, where there are these massive amounts of invasions that are going to take the military, so to speak, to deal with. And so one of the signs that we find in TBM of iodine deficiency is actually suppressed white blood cells, because when they're deficient in iodine, you overwork the immune cells of the body, and as a result of that, they wear out. You burn out all the nutrients that supply the pipeline, and we get low white blood count. So one of the indications that I look for in labs is suppressed white blood cells. Now in TBM, we use mineral points just below the clavicle on the right-hand side to assess iodine and other minerals. And so those of you who are trained in doing that, remember that the body may need multiple minerals. So after each mineral that you test, you have to ask finish, because there may be more. They may need iodine and zinc and selenium and who knows what. So we test until the body tells us finished. So the main point I want you to take from today's TBM topic is that any infectious process, your first question, what is the iodine status of the body? before you start going specifically after infection, before you start going directly at immune support, take a look at what's the iodine status, because if the iodine status is depleted, you're going to be playing a whack-a-mole game. You might deal with this infection today, but you're going to have another one tomorrow, because the body's principal immune chemical surveillance system is broken down. So let's talk about amounts of iodine. I find, as far as a maintenance level, that patients seem to do well with 3 to 6 milligrams a day. So we check need and use on that. So we use the mineral point to check need and use for that. If they're in a deficient state where it's not maintenance, then I commonly will see 12 to 24 milligrams a day, sometimes even higher than that. Now, if someone does have a real high need for iodine, I prefer to graduate it up. And so I start with a smaller dose and then we work up to what the body actually needs. So we don't create whiplash, so to speak, by bombarding them with, for years, maybe they've had close to no iodine, then we're giving them a whole bunch. We don't want to do that. We want to kind of graduate it up a little bit. And it takes several months to rebuild and replenish these iodine reserves and to see the immune effects on the body and to see how much it improves overall health. But you will see them, and hopefully you're now more willing to take a look at iodine supplementation and have a sense about how much and what the benefits are. And this is, again, Dr. Kevin Millet in downtown Dubai in Burj Khalifa, and we'll catch you the next TBM topic.